Hello, brothers and sisters. Thanks for joining me. Hey, today I want to talk about free speech UK style again. So I came across this story in The Standard. Father Ted creator Graham Linehan arrested at Heathrow for 3 anti-trans posts as J.K. Rowling slams police action. For a country where they have loads of free speech, they do seem to arrest a lot of people for things that they say online. But let's see what this guy did. The Irish comedian, 57, was detained by armed officers moments after stepping off an American Airlines flight from Arizona. Armed officers, really, for a comedian who's 57? It's Heathrow. Maybe all the officers are armed in Heathrow. I don't know. But it just seems ludicrous. So it looks like there's a video here, 9 minutes long. Let's watch the beginning of it and see if it's interesting. And this is a new story. This was only posted 2 hours ago. Wow. So this is hot off the press.
Have we reached a tipping point in the gender wars? So 6 years ago, comedy writer Graham Linehan, the man who created hit sitcoms such as Father Ted and Black Books, was cancelled for standing up for the rights of women. But have things actually got any better? Well, I'm delighted to say that Graham Linehan joins me now. Welcome to the show.
He just got arrested. I don't think they got better.
You've obviously been on the show before and your case has been very well publicised, but just in case anyone's watching who doesn't know what happened to you, what happened?
Well, I just noticed women being bullied online and in physical space as well, and I started objecting to it. I immediately started losing work.
And this was just on Twitter or social media.
Yeah,
just making that point.
Yeah, exactly. And then I had what I thought was a bit of a kind of safety net in the Father Ted musical, which I saw as my pension.
Yes.
And finally, that was taken away too by my spineless colleagues, I'm afraid.
I mean, that's incredible, isn't it? Because, Father Ted, one of the most famous sitcoms of all time, the musical, a surefire hit.
Yep.
Still hasn't been produced.
Yeah.
Still being held hostage by Hat-Trick Productions, who are the people who have the rights. Yeah.
Yeah. It's because it's a combination of things. It's because they're terrified of activists. They have activists within the company, and they don't have enough interest in the women in their lives to investigate the issue. It's an insane situation.
And one of the things that's been so surprising in your case, I mean, obviously I've read your book, Tough Crowd, which is brilliant. What I love about it, it's mostly about comedy, about the craft of comedy.
All right, so I think that's enough of that. It looks like that's not related to this story. It looks like that's an older piece about this guy. So it looks like this guy's been an activist calling for, men not to be in women's spaces, and he's been offending some people, and so the tolerant left canceled him. So that's the funny thing. They like to say they're tolerant, but they're not tolerant if your views differ from theirs. If you have any different view, then they're not tolerant of your opinion, which is crazy because it's all doublespeak. It's all George Orwell. So let's see more about what has just happened to him recently. That looks like that story was from a little bit ago. Father Ted co-creator Graham Linehan has been arrested at Heathrow on suspicion of inciting violence over a series of gender-critical posts on the X social media platform. Yeah, and that's the real problem in the UK. The laws that have been written right now are so vague that pretty much if anyone gets offended by anything, they can report you to the police. And then the police, under these vague laws, can come and arrest you. It's ludicrous. Somehow they're able to tie all of this into hate speech. And so Britain, you really need to go back to the drawing board on these hate speech laws. They're being abused by people. They should not be used to stop people from being offended. People offend each other all the time. It's not a crime. The Irish comedy writer, 57, alleges he was detained by 5 armed officers immediately after he stepped off the plane in Arizona. 5? Really? They sent 5 to collect a comedian coming off a plane? And armed too? Okay. Fair enough. Can't go after the rapists. But we're going after comedians and we're arresting guys who say they love bacon in front of a mosque. Okay, that's British law for you. BAFTA-winning Linehan claimed online after being escorted to a private area, officers informed him he had been held for 3 tweets. Yeah, hopefully we can see the tweets. Usually they get taken down and you don't get to see what they are, but maybe we'll see. Author J.K. Rowling was among several high-profile figures to condemn the arrest, labeling it utterly deplorable. Yeah, and J.K. Rowling's been a big supporter of women's rights in the UK. They tried to cancel her, but she was too big to cancel, famously. The Metropolitan Police said on Monday, September 1st at 1 p.m., officers arrested a man at Heathrow Airport after he arrived in an inbound American Airlines flight. The man in his 50s was arrested on suspicion of inciting violence. This is in relation to posts on X. So here he is. Oh, in hospital after incident. So he must have had a medical problem. After being taken into police custody, officers became concerned for his health, and he was taken to hospital. Oh, I hope he's okay. In the picture, he looks like he's okay. His condition is neither life-threatening nor life-changing. Okay, good. He has now been bailed pending investigation. A spokeswoman added, the arrest was made by officers from the MPS Aviation Unit. It is routine for officers policing the airports to carry firearms. These were not drawn or used at any point in his arrest. Okay, so maybe officers in airports are all armed, or a good number of them, and they were the ones that were available to arrest this hardened criminal. One of Linehan's posts on X from April said, if a trans-identified male is in a female-only space, he is committing a violent, abusive act. Make a scene, call cops, and if all else fails, punch him in the balls. Okay? All right, so, he called for violence, punched him in the balls as kind of if all else fails. I don't see that as inciting violence. He's really talking about protecting yourself from men in women's spaces and call the police, and then if all else fails. I don't see how this is really against the law, but the laws are crazy in the UK. A second tweet on April 19th was a picture of a trans rally with a caption, a photo you can smell. I don't know what that smell would be. When I see people saying stuff like that, there are things you can smell in photos for sure. Normally, like if you get a nice picture of some nice baking bread, I smell the butter on the bread. I don't know what a trans rally would smell like. I have no idea. I would have to see the picture. The third was a follow-up to this tweet, which said, I hate them, misogynists and homophobes, F them. I don't see how the second two at all are inciting violence. The first one, yeah, he did say punch him in the balls, but I mean, come on. People say that kind of stuff all the time. This should not be a crime. This is a travesty of justice, Britain. I hope this case is quickly thrown out. The problem is you guys keep throwing people in jail for this and forcing them to deal with it as an offense when they shouldn't even have to deal with this nonsense and go to all this trouble. So you are suppressing speech, Britain, by doing this because you're trying to make people afraid to say certain things. And if they say, or you're going to throw them in jail, but they're things that people should be allowed to say. He has an opinion that, trans women should not be in women's spaces. I think that that's a fair opinion. And I think most reasonable people in America would think that. Now, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe in the UK, this is the majority opinion that we should throw people in jail for saying things like this. Tell me in the comments, is this a majority opinion? Should we be throwing people in jail for what he said, those 3 tweets? I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't arrest them for that. Linehan claimed he was later escorted to hospital A&E because the stress nearly killed me, adding his blood pressure was recorded at over 200 by a nurse. Yeah, so he was having a stressful blood pressure problem, and that can be dangerous. Describing his dramatic arrest on his blog, Linehan wrote, the moment I stepped off the plane at Heathrow, 5 armed police officers waiting. That's just ridiculous to be 5 officers for a comedian off a plane. He's coming off a plane. He can't have any weapons. Why not just send 2? Not 1, not 2, 5. They escorted me to a private area and told me I was under arrest for 3 tweets. He added, I was arrested in an airport like a terrorist. Yep. 5 cops with guns. Yep. Locked in a cell like a criminal. No, you are a criminal. They arrested you. They think you're a criminal. It's not like a criminal. Taken to a hospital because the stress nearly killed me and banned from speaking online, all because I made jokes that upset some psychotic cross-dressers. Yeah, he's actually a criminal for offending some psychotic cross-dressers. Oh, it's crazy. I wonder if I go back to the UK, if I'm going to get arrested. I don't believe I've ever said there should be violence against anyone, or even that they should be punched in the balls. So, but I don't know. You say so much crazy stuff, or I do anyway. I better call a solicitor and have him on speed dial before I fly back into Heathrow next time. To me, this proves one thing beyond doubt. The UK has become a country that is hostile to freedom of speech, hostile to women, and far too accommodating to the demands of violent, entitled, abusive men who have turned the police into their personal goon squad. Yep, I agree. Rowling, who often speaks out on trans issues and has faced backlash for saying trans women shouldn't be allowed in female only spaces, I agree with that. Wrote on X, "What the F has the UK become? This is totalitarianism, utter deplorable." Yeah. This is 100% what Orwell warned us about in 1984. The UK is becoming, was it Oceania? I think that was the country that 1984 was set in. Well, Piers Morgan also weighed in, writing, "What's happened to Linehan today is absolutely ridiculous. 5 armed cops arresting him at Heathrow for tweets mocking the scandal of biological men invading women's spaces. When it comes to free speech, Britain's turning into North Korea." Yeah, 100% agree with you, Pierce, on this one. Shadow Justice Secretary Robert Jenrick also criticized the arrest, saying, "This is ridiculous and a complete waste of police time. The police only respond to 1 in 5 reported shoplifting offenses, but deployed 5 armed officers to arrest a comedian over 3 tweets. We desperately need to end this nonsense and go after actual criminals." Yeah, can we go after the rape gangs? Can we make things safer so little girls in Scotland aren't running around with knives all the time to protect themselves? And I know that one's controversial, but I'm gonna take it from that standpoint on this one, because there are a lot of people out there afraid for their lives, and they are defending themselves and picking up knives and pepper spray illegally. I think that's crazy that a woman cannot carry pepper spray in the UK and the police can. There is no right to self-defense in the UK, which is crazy to me. Linehan is due to face trial this month, accused of harassing transgender activist Sophia Brooks, 18, on social media. Oh, he harassed her on social media. Great. And damaging her mobile in October. Okay, now he shouldn't have damaged her mobile. You shouldn't be touching other people. That is assault. You should not be breaking their phones or whatever. That's their private property. So quite right. I'm fine with him having to face charges if he damaged her property. I'm not for violence of any kind. In 2023, Linehan recalled in his book titled "Tough Crowd" how I made and lost a career in comedy, how championing an unfashionable cause cost him his livelihood. He created Father Ted in the 1990s with fellow Irish writer Arthur Matthews. He also came up with TV sitcoms The It Crowd and Black Books. Yeah, Father Ted was a great show. Funny. I think, wasn't Graham Norton on that? I think Graham Norton was on that. But funny show. And it really did break barriers, because it was probably, the first time you really could have a go at the Catholic Church in Ireland, and in a funny kind of tongue-in-cheek way, and it was funny. So I love the drunk priest who no one ever knew what he could say. Anyway, back to this. This is deplorable. Britain, your police need to be going after real baddies. Stop censoring people's speech. Stop working for the offended classes to go out there and go after their enemies. That's what this is. Anyone can go out there and say, "I'm offended by something," and then boom, the police will show up at your door. Can you guys go after real crime? And really, the problem is the laws. The laws are also super vague, and so this allows this kind of nonsense to happen. And it's just the Karens have taken over the police and the legislature and the law writing process in the UK, and you need to stop, or what's going to happen is eventually someone like Trump is going to get in, and it's going to be worse. He's going to crack down on everyone like you're seeing in America, and I think that could be Nigel Farage in 4 years. Or it could be somebody even worse. So guys, get your act together. Stop the nonsense. Stop vilifying your own people for just things that Americans would think is free speech. Let me know if you like this. If you didn't, don't watch me. Or leave in the comments where I got this wrong. Should it be a crime in the UK to make these 3 tweets? Am I way off base? Do the majority of Brits now want this level of control by the government?